Breaking news are happening now.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Reality Flash. My name is Mike Bloom, and I'm here to bring you the flashiest breaking news in the wild world of reality TV. Well, the calendar page has officially turned, and we have entered 2025. Of course, a happy new year to you and yours. Now, the end of a year and the beginning of another is kind of like a weird space to be in, as you are spending equal parts looking back on what's happened while also looking forward at what hopefully will happen. So I thought for the inaugural episode of this new podcast, The Reality Flash, I'd get into some of the biggest things that we got to experience in 2024 in reality TV. And what I'm most excited is coming down the pike in the next 12 months. So across the board, 2024 saw a number of reality stars who began, I would say, like a second act of their career. Take, for example, Phaedra Parks. So in 2017, Phaedra had been fired from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she had been attempting a comeback in the 2020s with shows like Ultimate Girls Trip and Married to Medicine. But the mortician truly resurrected her time in the spotlight when she took that transatlantic flight over to that famous castle in Scotland and turned out a star turn on season 2 of The Traitors. Of course, by the end of that season, we are all saying, Lord, yes, more Phaedra Parks. So Phaedra appeared this past fall in Dancing with the Stars, kind of riding that momentum from what happened at the very beginning of the year. And to really put a point on how much of a year of rebirth this has been for her, it has been announced that Phaedra will actually be returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta for its upcoming season in 2025, a full 8 years after she had just been fired from the exact same series. Take as another example the very person that Phaedra had called an ice princess in the Traitors turret. Let's talk about Parvati Shallow. So the Survivor legend is an incredibly different person from who we saw last time. Last time she graced our screens in 2020 in Survivor Winners at War. She had ended her marriage in 2021. She had come out as queer at the end of 2023 on social media. But 2024 saw Parvati's return to TV, and she both made new fans and delighted her past admirers. And it seems like her reemergence is here to stay. We won't have to squint hard to see her on another reality show, but talk more about that in a little bit. Let's talk about somebody else. Big second act, big reemergence in 2024. Ariana Madix, another great instance of this type of arc. Ariana was somebody who was coming out of one of the most emotionally fragile years she has ever had in front of the camera, on the heels of, in the wake of this massive Scandival series of events that occupied the space of 2023. But over the course of the past year, she was really able to turn tragedy into triumph. She made her Broadway debut in Chicago. She became the host of Love Island over the course of the summer. So she has really been able to make a fantastic transition out of Vanderpump Rules. And not a moment too soon. Let's talk about Vanderpump, actually, because we really ended up seeing the end of an era for VPR in 2024. So while the hit Bravo series did air an 11th season last year, and kind of filled in this awkward transitional period post Scandival, the way it ended brought a lot of questions from fans as to how it was going to continue, if at all. And so the answer was with a completely new cast. We are almost like wiping the slate clean. It's the first reboot in the show's history. So we'll see what VPR, the new class, will provide and how it could stack up to everything the series has brought over a decade, including an increasingly stacked number of controversies among its group. And on the note of men behaving badly, 2024 showed that when it comes to the Bachelor universe, every rose has its thorn. So Jen Tran's season of The Bachelorette had probably one of its most controversial endings in recent memory when the winner of that season, Devin Strader, was discovered to have an alleged arrest and restraining order from a previous relationship. And so, just when we thought we were out of the water, when we approached the more mature men of the Golden Bachelorette, we found out that age is truly just a number because one of the men vying for Joan Vassos's heart was a man named Gil Ramirez, who some internet sleuthing was able to discover that he apparently had a history of stalking as well as also having a restraining order out against him. The men apparently do not tell all when it comes to their criminal records. But despite those low moments, I largely remember 2024 with the highs of some of the most veteran reality series we have out there still running today. Of course, Survivor continued on its big hot streak, producing two wildly different yet entertaining seasons in 46 and 47 and had many fans calling it the best the new era has had to offer so far. Of course, Big Brother 26 was an absolutely wild ride from beginning to end, full of arguments, power shifts, and record-breaking chaos. Dancing with the Stars set record numbers in its voting, 33 seasons in, and earned tens across the boards for especially crossing over into the social media world. And despite Love Island US now being on its sixth season, it really hit its stride this year. It yielded so many fantastic moments, of course, plenty of romance, and even a freaking Cheez-Its brand deal. It's safe to say, much like Cordell Beckham's favorite snack, we were well fed when it came to reality TV in 2024. And now it is time to look ahead. I'll be back in a flash to tell you what I am most excited about when it comes to reality TV in 2025. So now that we've talked about what's behind us, it is time for us to avert our gaze to what's to come in 2025 in the world of reality TV. And we start with something that's a little over a week away. Of course, I'm talking about the Traitors Season 3. So, since the American version has gone full celebrity, it really has caught fire like a torch lit with the oil of betrayal, becoming one of the most talked about shows of last year. And this year's group features, of course, some more big names from the world of Survivor, Big Brother, the Bravoverse, and beyond, all playing, of course, in the sandbox of this high stakes, wildly entertaining game of what's basically Mafia. Just think about Tony Vlachos and Bob the Drag Queen having a conversation about like anything, really, or Dorinda Medley and Brittany Haynes exchanging messy barbs at one another, or watching two of the greatest strategists in the history of the genre in Boston Rob Mariano and Daniel Reyes going tip top toes, or even just like the absolute wild card out of nowhere nature of casting Zac Efron's brother and Britney Spears' ex husband, almost like they kind of like bumped into the person doing the claim to fame casting and got a couple of their files mixed up. Either way, between the sure to be guaranteed dramatic arguments to come and the always fantastic hosting and outfits from Alan Cumming, much like a roundtable, we are sure to be seated for season 3. We're also going to be seeing Deal or No Deal Island making its way to NBC for season 2, and that will also feature 3 reality TV alumni in the aforementioned Parvati, Big Brother legend Dr. Will Kirby, and Australian Survivor winner David Jennett. And for those who are worried that previous victors like Tony and Parvati have left that island life far behind them, drop your expectations. Because also coming in 2025, Australian Survivor: Australia versus the world. So to commemorate 10 seasons of the reboot of the Down Under edition of Survivor, including the upcoming Brains versus Brawn 2 installment, which should be happening in the next couple months, we are going to get a theme that fans have been dying to see come to fruition. They're taking legends from the Australian version of the game and highlights luminaries from New Zealand, Quebec, Norway, South Africa, and of course, the United States. Now, last year, some of the casting has already been announced, like Titans versus Rebels standout Kirby, the villainous King George. We have Shawnee making a record breaking 4th appearance on Australian Survivor. But the versus the world part has honestly come out swinging. They announced 3 American players so far, and they are big ones. Parvati, Tony, and of course, Suri Fields. These are 3 individuals who, at least I thought, and a lot of fans did, had ostensibly kind of like moved on from Survivor, had done other shows, felt like they had traded in the beachside shelter for the Traitors Mansion in the case of all 3 of them. But even though we're already a year removed from the Olympics, we still kind of get this element of getting to have them represent the US on this world stage in a very different type of event. Let's talk talent, shall we? And of course, we know America's got it, but I'm actually most looking forward to the upcoming season of American Idol this spring. And that's because Katy Perry out as a judge, and we are bringing in, for the first time, not only an Idol alum, but a winner onto the panel. Of course, I'm talking about Carrie Underwood. She is joining Lionel Richie and Luke Bryan, and she, is sitting down in the same chairs, sipping that Coca-Cola that she faced a decade ago, after she had won in season 4 and became arguably one of the most successful winners and contestants in terms of a post-show career in Idol history. For years, I have been jockeying for these talent shows to bring on alumni as judges, considering like this interesting element of how much wisdom they can impart onto other contestants based on their own personal experience. We just saw Top Chef do it with Kristen Kish, and I feel like it went over absolutely swimmingly. It's, of course, been a staple of Canada's Drag Race with Brooklyn Heights. When it comes to giving critiques, I am more than happy to say, Carrie, take the wheel. And hopefully her appearance on the show inside your heaven. Can we actually talk for a second? Like, remember when American Idol wrote an original song every finale that they made both finalists perform? It's sort of like a B-side release that ends up coming out once the winner is announced. It's just odd to think about the alternate universe where Justin Guarini is singing A Moment Like This, or like Catherine McPhee, now Foster, is belting out Do I Make You Proud? So forgive me for waxing nostalgic, but if you actually look at some of the new reality TV coming to our screens this next month, you'll realize it's actually not so new in terms of concept. So the 2000s were a veritable wild west when it came to the genre, as the explosion of the just general concept of unscripted TV onto the scene meant there was no idea too small or insane to be produced. But truly, everything old is new again with the return of 2 veteran shows from the turn of the century here in January. So tomorrow, January 2nd on ABC, sees the return of Extreme Makeover Home Edition. And after everyone moves that bus, you can actually see there is a familiar face to the world of reality TV, having made their transition as a part of the design crew. So, Survivor winner Wendell Holland was not able to prove that he was the GOAT last year, but he may be at construction. He's going to bring his literal craftiness off the island and make some families' dreams come true. Speaking of the GOAT, actually, that is the name, interestingly enough, of the fake reality show at the center of the Joe Schmo Show, which is coming back for season 4 on January 21st over on TBS. So this series, if you don't know it, is a complete send-up of the genre of reality TV, as one person is essentially at the center of this like giant hoax. It's like a real-life Truman Show. They have no idea that everything around them, from the contestants to the host to the production, from beginning to end, is completely scripted. It is going to be so interesting to see, near over 20 years after the show first debuted, to see what series and tropes and big twists that Joe Schmo will bring upon its return, considering how much more reality TV there is nowadays and how much things have really reshaped itself from decades ago. And also on the other side, especially in the wake of a recent show like Jury Duty, I am really intrigued to see whether the titular Schmo can actually at one point see through the ruse in front of them. Regardless, if I have not made it clear, there's plenty of exciting reality TV to look forward to in 2025, whether it be new casts or old shows with a fresh coat of paint. And with the new year comes plenty of news on the horizon, and I cannot wait to bring you everything you need to know whenever it breaks. So, that being said, if you see something, say something. So, if you have any reality TV news that just happens upon your feed that you want me to cover here on the Reality Flash, no spam, no solicitations, just tips. That's just tips at realityflash.com. Again, just tips at realityflash.com, because sometimes the only thing that can change a bad day to a good one is just a tip. And be sure to subscribe, of course, at therealityflash.com to make sure you do not miss a second every time a piece of breaking news comes in that we feel like we want to talk about, to share with you all. We will drop a podcast in the feeds. We'll drop a YouTube video here in the visual aspect as well. So do not starve your eyes and ears. Make sure you're subscribed, therealityflash.com. That's going to do it for the very first episode of the Reality Flash. I am brimming right now with excitement, not only with all the stuff I highlighted, but all the possibility of new stuff to pop into our minds that we can't even think of. And just the idea of getting to do this, to bring, my job that I've been doing for several years at this point, my passion for the genre, to you all. I hope you all are enjoying it. I'm sure hopefully you are. Leave your comments as well in this video on the podcast. Make sure you subscribe as well to the feed. Leave some ratings and reviews. We want that, especially as a brand new show out there in the universe. Any and all support is deeply, deeply appreciated. I'll be back in your eyes and ears soon with more reality TV news that you need to know as it breaks. Until then, everybody, I hope you like what you saw.